Hello from Hong Kong. I'm Aidan Gregory, Senior Correspondent at Insurance Asia News. We're in Quarry Bay this afternoon at Lockton's Hong Kong headquarters, and I'm joined by Tony Hardy, CEO of Lockton Asia. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, Tony.
It's a great pleasure.
We're here this afternoon to discuss the broking landscape in Asia and Lockton's ambitions in the region. Tony, you've been CEO of Lockton Asia now for just over a year. Have you enjoyed your first year in the region?
I have. It's been really interesting. I described it for the first period of time, and maybe still as exhausting and exhilarating in equal measure. So I've been learning new people. I've been learning new countries, new business cultures, whilst also trying to create a Lockton Asia regional feel. It's been a really interesting period of time.
So it's a very dynamic region, as you say. What are Lockton's key growth priorities for Asia over the next 12 months?
Over the next 12 months, and in fact, over the next period of time, we see strong growth. We are typically a company around the world that grows double-digit organic growth. In Asia, I have an aspiration of doubling by 2030. So that's a lot more than just double-digit per year. It's a CAGR of something like 21%. There's nothing unusual about that in Lockton Asia. This year we will be 25% growth at constant currency, and that's a combination of a bit of M&A, but also a build of people, specialty, our people solutions business, and the such like.
And are there any particular countries, markets, lines of business in the region that you're particularly excited about?
I'm excited about the region. It's very dynamic. I think that we are looking at growth throughout. I think there are certain areas. We've just introduced a mainland China CEO, for instance. Greater China is a very large part of Lockton Asia, but we would like to see a bit more focus in an area that's complex, from a territory, regulatory, the business. We'd like to help our clients more with Chinese interests abroad. So that mainland China as part of Greater China is a really interesting area for us. We're certainly looking at Southeast Asia, where we're strong. We've been here for many decades as Lockton and predecessor companies. And we went to majority in Malaysia, for instance, this year because we see them as a very important part of Southeast Asia, ASEAN. And we are looking at all of our territory, but they would be the two main growth areas right now.
What's your M&A strategy in Asia, and how does the recent deal to take full control of the Malaysian subsidiary fit within Lockton's broader ambitions in the region?
I think that fits two ways. Actually, Lockton is a group that has grown substantially since it began in 1966 by taking on people rather than structural M&A. I mean, its big one actually was to buy Alexander Forbes back in 2006, which gave it international reach. So our first point of growth is people, and any number of people. And then we will grow alongside that with some M&A activity. In Malaysia, where we've been through Lockton since 2007, but predecessor companies back to the 1970s, was just an opportunity to bring that into region. Lockton is not an area that grows countries for growth. It grows in countries for our clients. And it's always client-led. We have no need to put a flag in every town in every country. It's not our style, but we will do what we think is important for clients.
How are you positioning Lockton to grow in the specialty space?
We're growing locally. The important thing for Lockton in Asia is that we're very strong in each country, but we also want to have what we're calling regional muscle in order to help each of those countries to provide greater service to their clients. So we are looking at the way that we create a regional sort of background to specialty, and we're looking at pro-exec, financial lines, we're looking at power and energy, we're looking at construction, We're looking at marine, where we've grown quite a bit in Asia. Lockton are a very big marine broker globally, but we've grown especially in Asia in this period of time. And also the biggest investment in Lockton International is actually through our People Solution, our employee benefit business. And I think that's a good example of where we're seeking to grow in placement, in advisory, in consultancy. And that's really how we're seeking to grow, specialty, but advisory and consultancy.
So the broking landscape in Asia is very competitive, and it is likely to remain so. How would you characterise the broking landscape in Asia at the moment, and where are the opportunities for brokers to differentiate themselves?
The market's competitive, the insurance market's competitive, the rates are down, but we are also seeing greater competition in the broker world. There's a lot of reconstruction within some of the larger existing brokers, but also a lot of new brokers breaking in and trying to give support as they see it to an exciting region. So that's fine. Actually, I think for clients that greater competition in the broker world is good for them. I think it makes everyone a bit sharper. It sort of shows the difference between those brokers that are maybe growing for capital and those that are growing for their clients. We're an independently owned, run company that is here for our clients for the long term, and that's why we're investing, that's why we're growing. We're doing it for our clients, not necessarily to return money to shareholders.
The nature of the ownership helps you to be nimble and selective in terms of the areas that you choose to go for.
I would say the independence of Lockton is a fundamental and a fundamental strength. We've had three heads of Lockton globally. We've had Jack Lockton that set up the fundamentals of the company, David Lockton, his brother, who grew it into an international broker, and now we have Ron Lockton, son of Jack, the nephew of David, who is making us fit for the 21st century in a way that makes sense to our clients in terms of data, connectivity, and the way that actually we can make decisions long term that maybe set us against some of the competition that really need to look quarter to quarter.
This year so far has obviously been an incredibly volatile time geopolitically, with the conflict in the Middle East and concerns about the energy price and rising inflation. How are your clients adapting to the current geopolitical volatility and its impact on their risk priorities?
It's a difficult time, and there are particular aspects which are difficult to navigate for clients, such as war risks and the way that the war risk programs respond when actually there is activity. It's not the first time that we've seen such volatility, and it goes around in cycles. In this past year, I think it's just a reminder to people to really get their risk programs set to look to the future, but also to be a bit more dynamic, to be able to respond to events as they come, to scenario plan a bit more, to think of how you future-proof programs against some of the problems. And that's a really big part of what Lockton do. We're here an advisory. We're not just peddling product and doing basic placement. We're here as an advisory broker that will help them navigate those difficult times.
How is Lockton navigating the competition for talent in Asia, and what are your hiring plans for the region?
Obviously, the impact of a lot of new brokers creating competition has an impact on how you employ, but particularly how you retain. And Lockton are in the middle of that in some places. In India, we went from 0 people to 250 people in an 18-month period. We understand that you can go in and disrupt markets, and it creates difficulty. But for us, because our associates are the fundamental asset that we have, it's really important, and this is where our independence is very important too. It allows us to really plan their futures with them. We don't see people as the as the way that we grow, we see them as a vehicle for growth. They will retain clients and they will help to win clients. And with our very high retention rate, because of the service that we provide to clients, it means that our growth will be there, has always been there, will always be there in our eyes. And that actually gives a very exciting job. But we are able to work with our associates to help them plan their future, to actually have that feeling of being in an entrepreneurial and an empowered position, that they can provide the resources of Lockton to their client first and foremost. It's the most important thing that they do. That allows them to really plan their future within Lockton, which is why we do have a high retention rate on associates, which gives us the almost certainly the high retention rate on clients.
Thanks for joining me this afternoon, Tony. It's been really interesting to hear your perspectives on the broking market in Asia.
It really is, and it was a pleasure to speak with you.